What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving into an absolute monster of a burst gun. This is the DG-56. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile, and up close and personal, this is a guaranteed 4-shot kill anywhere to the body. However, we do deal bonus damage to the upper torso and arms, which, by the way, I just wanted to point out in my graphic, you might notice that upper torso might look a little bit bigger than the previous episodes. This is because they've actually adjusted that slightly in this game, and I didn't pick up on that until this point. So this is your actual upper torso multiplier. It is quite large. But like I said, in the maximum damage range, it doesn't matter. You can shoot them anywhere in the body. However, the key with this gun is the head and neck shot multiplier is very solid, and in that maximum damage range, all you have to do is mix one single shot to either the neck or the head to get a 3-shot kill, which is a 1-burst kill with this gun. And moving into our rate of fire, the rate of fire within each burst is about 900 rounds per minute, and there's a roughly 100 millisecond burst delay. That's a pretty quick delay, by the way, for a burst gun. And what this means is with that 4-shot kill to the body, you will have to get that second burst off, and you'll be killing them in 300 milliseconds for a 4-shot kill, which is right around average for assault rifles in this game, and not bad by any means. However, the true power of this gun comes from that one single head or neck shot mixed in with those upper torso shots, because this allows you to get a 1 burst, and that means you're killing in 133 milliseconds, which is like out of this world insane for a time to kill in this game. Like a really, really fast time to kill in this game is like 230, 240 milliseconds. This is 133 milliseconds. So if you're somebody that has good aim and you consistently get these 1-burst kills, you're going to be practically untouchable with this gun because there's just nothing that kills that fast in this game. In either case, let's move into our ranges, and as we can see here, our maximum damage range, where we just have to mix that one single headshot in, this is about 35 meters, which is a very respectable range, and then we do drop off to that 5-shot kill at about 45 meters or so. Also, it is worth noting we get a great bullet velocity at 720 meters per second. And then when we take a look at hardcore mode, this has a 1-shot kill potential at any range. However, in that minimum damage range, you do have to hit that shot to the upper torso or the arms if you want to maintain a 1-shot kill. And honestly, for hardcore, using this in semi-auto is often the right way to go because then you're not wasting those additional couple shots in a burst because you just need to land 1 to get a kill. And with that, just to be clear here, you will still deal the exact same damage per bullet in semi-auto. I know in Modern Warfare 2, sometimes swapping to semi-auto would increase damage. That's not the case with this gun. As for Hipfire, the DG-58 is actually the best in the assault rifle category. Even while moving, you get a nice tight Hipfire spread here, and you can create a pretty incredible Hipfire build with this, and I'm actually going to share one of those toward the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that one. Now let's move into Recoil, and this gun is quite accurate. You can see it does climb. It doesn't have enough time to recenter between bursts because that burst delay is so short. And you do see a little bit of deviation here without any attachments on. So if you do want to get those consistent 1 bursts, you're probably going to want to focus a bit on recoil attachments. But even without attachments, I'd still say this is a generally accurate gun. It's just often going to take you 2 bursts rather than 1 unless you build for accuracy. Then after that, let's get into our handling stats, and our aim down sight time is pretty much average for assault rifles at 240 meters per second, and it's a similar story with our sprint to fire time. This is pretty standard for assault rifles at 210 milliseconds for our standard sprint out time, and about 300 milliseconds for our tactical sprint out time. As for our reload add time, unfortunately, this is the slowest in the assault rifle category at 1.94 seconds, and this is very noticeable in-game. You really have to plan your reloads accordingly, or pair this with mag holster if you want to speed that up a bit. And then finally, for the base stats of this gun, let's have a look at our movement speeds. And our base movement speed is a little bit above average, sprint movement speed is a little bit below average, and our aim walking movement speed is slightly above average for assault rifles. At the end of the day, it's all within the realm of average though. There's just nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to movement speeds here. And with that, it's time to move into some excellent attachment combinations I put together for you guys. And the first one I've got is my accuracy build. Now this gun really needs to rely on gun kick as well as tightening up any sort of horizontal recoil that we're getting here. So with this, we're using the Wrathguard compensator combined with the Bruin heavy support underbarrel. This one is key. This is an excellent attachment for the DG-58 because it helps so much with that gun kick or that random shot that would just sort of fly sideways on you. This really keeps that in check. We also have the DG-56 LS-18 barrel, the Harken OP grip, because this helps with our aiming idle stability, and you definitely want to be nice and stable when you're aiming down sight for that really precise burst, but it also helps with flinch resistance. And flinch resistance normally isn't all that important with like a full auto gun, but with burst guns, you definitely don't want to be flinched off target at the perfect moment where you just totally missed your burst. So it is nice to have that little extra flinch resistance here, and then we're going to top it off with my favorite optic at the moment, which is the Mark III reflector. And with this setup, it's insanely accurate. It kicks straight upwards, and it's okay to have that little bit of vertical recoil. In fact, you kind of want that. You want to be placing your first shot right toward the upper part of the upper torso, or even maybe the neck, and this will walk you right into that headshot for that insanely fast time to kill potential. There is essentially zero horizontal recoil with this now, so no flyers or anything. Our aim down sight speed is still quite respectable at 265 milliseconds. Our sprint out time's actually improved a little bit. Not that it's super relevant with this gun, since it's not really designed for aggressive rushing or anything. Our range is also very slightly improved with this setup, and then finally, like I said, our flinch resistance is improved quite nicely. There's basically no flinch with this particular build. So there we go, that's the first build, and one of my favorite ways to run the DG-58. However, sometimes I like being stealthy, so the second build I'm going to share for you guys, this is just a slight variation of the previous build. It's actually all of the same attachments, with the exception being I swapped out that compensator for the Shadow Strike suppressor. And this is that suppressor that just has no downsides attached to it. You just get to stay off the radar, so there's no other upsides, no other downsides. And I know it might seem kind of boring that I didn't swap out the other attachments, but to be honest, those attachments are just perfect for this gun, especially in combination. They just complement this gun so well that I wouldn't want to trade them for anything else, to be honest. And you can see with this particular gun, we're not quite as accurate because we are losing the accuracy that we gained with that compensator. However, this is still a very accurate and easy to control gun. It's just those one burst kills may not be quite as consistent as the previous setup. But in this case, that's a trade-off I'm willing to make in order to stay off the radar. And another thing to point out here is we get a significantly better range increase with this particular build because we're not using that compensator, which actually hurts our range. So if you're looking to stay off the radar, definitely give this setup a shot. It's pretty incredible. And now let's finally move into a much more niche build. But one thing I noticed with this gun is one of the camo challenges for it requires you to get tac stance kills. So I thought I would throw together a tac stance build, just thinking like, hey, this is going to help those people out who are going for this challenge, until I used it and discovered that this is actually a pretty great build on its own. Even if you're not grinding for camos, if you just want a different way to use this gun and you want to mess around with tac stance, this is a surprisingly good way to run the DG-58. So with this, we're stacking a bunch of attachments that basically just help us with our tac stance spread, and as a consequence of that, we're also significantly improving our hipfire spread. So with this, we have the S37C breacher, the Cronin groove shot under barrel grip, the Stovall DR laser box, which is not a visible laser by the way, the extended TP9 buttstock, and the 5GN tac comb. When you combine all of these together, our tac stance spread is insanely tight, and it doesn't even really increase that much as you're firing. To top that off, our hipfire spread is exactly the same whether we're moving or not, which is great to see. So you don't even need to be in that tac stance for this to be really effective. You could also just run around hip firing this and still be very effective, at least out to like mid ranges. Obviously with this in tac stance, our recoil isn't going to be nearly as good as the previous builds, but in saying this though, as long as you're keeping yourself within those like mid-range engagements, you should have no problem with accuracy. Sure, you might not be getting that crazy one burst kill very often, but if you're just aiming for a consistent two burst, this gun will do that for you. And if you're just looking for something totally different, or you just want to complete those camo challenges that are required for this gun, give this a shot. I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the DG-58. As for my thoughts on this gun, I think it's absolutely top tier. I'd easily put it in my top 5, maybe even top 3 guns in the game at the moment. However, I wouldn't quite call it the best gun in the game simply because it's a burst gun, and burst guns just don't work for everyone. There is a little bit more of a skill gap to using a burst gun effectively, especially making sure you're getting that one burst kill with this. You really have to be precise with your aim, but even with 2 bursts, it's still a very solid setup, and you can also use it at extremely long ranges really, really well. So, love this gun. I'm actually a little bit worried it may catch a nerf at some point, but of course, we'll just have to wait to see on that one. And with that, this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about the DG-58 so far? Do you agree with me? Do you think this may be a little bit on the too powerful side even? Just let me know down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes, we've already covered a few of the assault rifles. I will leave a link to the Gun Guy playlist in the description down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.